Clair Bbscure Expedition 33 is the greatest turn-based game of all time, and it isn't close. Expedition 33 is undoubtedly a masterpiece, scoring amazing reviews across the board and has become an instant classic for many people due to its story, combat, and overall art direction. But how does it compare against its fellow competitors within the turn-based genre? It does good, really fucking good, and it isn't surprising. The current state of traditional turn-based games is really stagnant, with very little variation added to the formula. The most obvious example of this stagnation is Pokemon. While the earlier games hold a special place in my heart like Pokemon Fire Red, the modern games are big piles of recycled shit with horrible optimization, basically non-existent story, and a laughably boring new feature every cycle. Practically anything with a good story and better combat system will play and feel better than a Pokemon game. Now, I understand Pokemon is targeted towards children, so some might say story is irrelevant. Fine, whatever, I hear you. That doesn't excuse the gameplay. I mean, just look at the camera difference between these two attacks. These are both early game attacks, but Expedition 33's attack flows seamlessly and feels powerfully cinematic, while Pokemon is stiff and is using the same angle from the 90s. This is just one example, but it's widely accepted that the Pokemon games are not as good as they should be, so it's kind of a given that Clair Bbscure is better. But Pokemon is still the biggest and most profitable of the genre, so I did want to compare the two. Side note, Zelda shows that the Pokemon devs are incompetent, just saying. A more reasonable and fair comparison would be the Persona series. Persona is a turn-based JRPG known for good music, great combat, and a story with a focus on character development through social ranks. Clair Bbscure draws heavy inspiration from the Persona series. It also has the social rankings for party members, elemental affinities for different enemy types, and their own version of the fuck it, just shoot 'em, as well as dynamic camera angles while swapping through menus. I can't put into words how cool I feel swapping through the menus in Clair Bbscure. That is really difficult to pull off, by the way. Most game UI is so aggravating and annoying to deal with, like Diablo, it's just disgusting and ugly to look at.
Look at me! I deserve to be looked at!
Expedition 33 menus flow perfectly, with dynamic moving camera angles and the twirling of weapons before you even attack to create a sense of weight and momentum. It just looks awesome. Persona has a version of this, but it is definitely not as dynamic. It is a bit more stiff. Clair Bbscure also allows you to interact with the moves even after you choose them through the use of QuickTime events. And you can actually fail these. Verso has a move where you have to click them pretty fast if you want to perfects, and if you mess up, he just won't do the move. This leads us to the biggest difference between the games: interactivity. Clair Bbscure has you constantly interacting with the game, while it isn't even your turn, through parries and dodges that have a timing window. So now you're always paying attention and not mindlessly picking Sword of Myriad Truths and bulldozing through the game at Mach 10. Additionally, Persona's stories feel really robotic during the cutscenes, and the anime aesthetic winds up limiting itself emotionally because they just aren't real people. I mean, hell, this guy doesn't even talk. Also, they have cringy dialogue all the time in those games.
That was so cool. Oh, nice move, Yosuke-senpai.
Contrastingly, Clair Bbscure can really feel and say a lot with just facial expressions and body movement. Characters smile and laugh like real people. They interrupt, they can't find the right words to say at the right moment. The story and its emotional presentation is innately human, and I love it because it's trying to be exactly what it is and not shitty Marvel jokes or corny writing.
I'm taking her home.
What? No, we have a mission.
Oh, fuck the mission! Fuck the mission, Lune!
Clair Bbscure also just deals with more serious themes like death, grief, and depression, so it is inherently of a more adult and serious story, which is why it's so important for the characters to feel real and not like the ones from Final Fantasy who talk like this.
And can we talk about that frame? I like my ships well built and this baby is thick.
One more thing, Persona has a weird ass fan base. They just say the dumbest shit, like, should a future Persona game explore teen pregnancy? I literally don't know what to say. Yeah, so Clair Bbscure is better than Persona. Case closed. Speaking of Final Fantasy earlier,
This baby is thick.
I'm not going to be comparing Clair Bbscure to modern Final Fantasy games. They have just moved too far away from being a turn-based RPG, and while the older games are great, like 7, the depth of the combat is not really comparable to the depth and fun of what Clair Bbscure offers. The gradient system is literally the limit break from Final Fantasy VII, which is awesome, by the way. These attacks are dope, and I love the black and white impact feel. And Minoko's is just funny. The Picto system and weapon skills also offer more variety and depth that the older Final Fantasy games just can't really compete with. They are still memorable and fun in their own way, similar to Pokemon Fire Red, but they just can't stand up to this game gameplay-wise. Baldur's Gate 3 is technically turn-based, but it is a CRPG, and those games are just boring to me. I just can't get into them, so I'm just gonna say it's in its own category, and it's not really turn-based for the context of this video, but it did win Game of the Year, so I felt that it was important to mention it. Those are pretty much all the games/series that I feel are a fair comparison. So let's move on to talk about difficulty. Most of the time within the turn-based genre, difficulty is handled poorly. What I mean by that is inflated damage/health numbers, artificially extended the length of a boring fight, luck-based slot machines where maybe you dodge or don't, get cursed, instantly die, enemy lands a crit, etc. Difficulty traditionally is somewhat mismanaged, or at least relies too much on luck, so the deflect and parry mechanics in Clair Bbscure relying not on luck and only on the player's ability allows for a more straightforward and enjoyable difficulty experience. If you think the timing windows are too tight on normal, don't worry. Story difficulty, aka easy mode, is well, easy, and makes it super approachable to newcomers by greatly increasing the dodge and parry timing windows. I can actually recommend this game to anyone who likes cool shit, because if you want the dumb hard rage version, Expeditioner difficulty has got you covered. But if you just want to see the art of the world, watch Bbscure do the dumb belly dance thing, or just want to know what happens next in the story, story difficulty is perfect for that person. The difficulty of the game allows for me to be happy with the challenge, while the self-lobotomized Pokemon fans can play the easy mode. This game will be Game of the Year. I'm very confident in that statement, but I would like to point out that I don't think the game is perfect. I know I just spent however many minutes saying it's the best, but I'm very critical and I have hate in my name. So here are some examples of how I think Clair Bbscure has some flaws. I cannot tell you how much I hate this stupid gestural game of volleyball or the platforming aspects of this game. Some of the game mechanics just don't work the way they're explained. For instance, the gradient attack does not take a turn from you, allowing you to play twice. But if you use Cheater, a Picto that allows you to play twice, or Versus Weapon for an extra turn, and then you use the gradient attack on the second turn, you would think you would get a third turn, right? Because you're not using your turn. You don't get another one. The first time I could use it, it didn't do what it just told me it would do, which is really confusing. Obviously for balance purposes, that's why they did it, but it's not really explained to you. Also, some of the scaling just sucks and doesn't make sense. The exact same looking enemy will just whoop your ass and have literally 10 times the HP and look the exact same. But the chromatic version is easier and you found it 10 minutes ago. So it can be a bit misleading sometimes in that way. There are tons of little things, but it doesn't take away from the overall package of the game. What I'm trying to say is that Clair Bbscure, while flawed, is still the best turn-based game we have ever gotten, and it really does stand head and shoulders above the rest for good reason too. The effort, passion, and dedication of the small studio Sandfall Interactive can be seen throughout all aspects of Clair Bbscure Expedition 33, and it deserves every bit of the love, praise, and hype it has received. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want me to make a full review on Clair Bbscure, let me know down below, or just tell me what you think of the video. On screen is an Elden Ring Zelda challenge run and a Bloodborne review. Like and sub. Peace.